What's good, YouTube? Hope all of you are doing well. Today I'm going to be talking about a show that I recently watched called Beck Mongolian Chop Squad. The anime is based off a manga by the same name, created by the mangaka Harold Soikuishi. It is a 26 episode show adapted by Studio Madhouse and first started being aired in October 2004. I ain't gonna lie, I watched the show on a whim, but man, it turned out to be absolute heat. Beck is primarily a music show. The only other music show that I really ever watched was Carol and Tuesday, but I didn't even finish that for some reason. I can't really remember. Anyways, I ended up binging Beck in like 3 days, so I guess it was like 8 episodes per day. The story revolves around a 14-year-old called Yukio Tanaka, who also goes by Koyuki. Koyuki is just aimlessly drifting through school. One day while returning from school, he sees a dog getting assaulted by a group of kids. He sees this and attempts to save the dog. Coincidentally, the name of the dog turns out to be Beck, and its owner is one of the other main characters of the show. 16-year-old Ryusuke Manami, who also goes by Ray for short. Turns out that Ray is a pretty good guitarist in his own right. As the show progresses through the early episodes, Koyuki starts to hang around with Ray and his sister Maho Manami more often. It also turns out that Maho is a very good vocalist as well. Being around his childhood friend and classmate Izumi Ishiguro, as well as Maho and Ray, Koyuki is plunged into the world of rock and roll. Ray ends up playing a big brother type of role to Koyuki, and even ends up giving him a guitar of his own. Later on, Ray creates a new band called Beck. He recruits Tsunemi Chiba, who is the lead vocalist / rapper, and Yoshiyuki Taira, who is the bass guitarist. Ray also recruits Toga, a drummer, but he ends up quitting the band later on due to family reasons. But yeah, eventually Koyuki becomes pretty darn good at the guitar. Ray thinks he should recruit him to the band. Koyuki's classmate Yuji Sakurai is also a fan of rock music and accompanies Koyuki to one of the infamous Beck practices in a studio. Yuji Sakurai also goes by the name Saku for short. As it turns out, Saku is a drummer filling the void that Togo left. The pieces were finally falling into place. Just like that, Saku and Koyuki were officially part of Beck's roster. Reflecting on the show, I saw it through two different aspects. In one aspect, I saw the trials and tribulations that Beck as a band faces, from a new underground band to becoming a band known worldwide. In the other aspect, I see Beck as a realistic coming-of-age story centered around Koyuki as he navigates through his teenage years. I'm just going to talk about the characters for a bit. Every member of Beck brings their own unique strengths and personalities to the band. Their chemistry is what ultimately leads them to succeeding as a band as well. Ray, the founding member of Beck, is often laid back. However, when it comes to the band, he's dead serious. I enjoy his character, to be honest, especially seeing the relationship between Ray and Koyuki develop as a little bro, big bro type connection. It even reminds me of the relationship between Lil Wayne and Drake, with how Wayne discovered Drake and assigned him to Young Money at first. With Ray and Koyuki, there were moments when they don't see eye to eye and beef, but they always got past it at the end of the day. Speaking of Koyuki, he seriously goes through some major character development. Through his teen years, he faces bullying, has his first romance, and finds his passion. Seeing his story unravel is honestly pretty relatable, like in terms of the bullying stuff and feeling lost trying to find out what he's truly passionate about. Maho is talented to begin with, excelling as a vocalist. However, being the same age as Koyuki, she faces her own challenges navigating through life. But man, I gotta say the relationship between Koyuki and Maho was pretty hard to watch at times. Like, that shit was complicated and frustrating, to be honest. Moving on to the drummer of Beck, Saku. Now, this guy's a solid dude. Throughout the show, he always kept it 100. He never did anything sketchy or messed up. He was the purest soul in the whole show. Like, Saku is the friend everyone wants. Just good vibes all around. I really enjoyed Chiba's character. I guess since he's like a rapper and I'm primarily into hip-hop, there could be some kind of bias there. But for real, he was a funny guy giving great comedy relief. Throughout the show, he was a real one as well and always got his friends back. When Koyuki was getting picked on in high school, it was Chiba who stepped in and told the bullies not to mess with him. Moving on to the last member of Beck, we got Tara. There isn't really much I can say on him, to be honest, but the vibes that I did get from him is that he was the calm, cool, and collected one of the whole group. He was like the elderly, wise voice in the band, I guess. I don't know if other people felt this way, but his character felt mysterious to me at times as well. But maybe that's just me. If I'm keeping it 100 with y'all, the main antagonists were nothing special, like they weren't really memorable even. Yoshito Muruzumi felt like an entitled brat, always opposing Koyuki. trying to get with Maho. Like, that shit was just annoying, man. There's Edgy Kimura, who was former bandmates with Ray until they broke up. Throughout the shows, they are portrayed as rivals, but to be honest, Ray was obviously the more talented one, and Beck was the better band. Kimura's band, Bel M, was only big because they were being pushed hard by a record label. Honestly, his band is the definition of an industry plant, and not even the good type of industry plant. For example, look at Ian Dior. He's a pop/hip-hop artist, and many consider him to be an industry plant because of his mysterious come-up that didn't seem that organic. But for me personally, Ian Dior still got some bangers. Like, I could care less if the artist is an industry plant or not. Just gotta make some good music. At the end of the day, what I did hear from Kimura's band, and even though it's like a small sample size of what I heard, that stuff was pretty garbage. Like, oh god, that shit was bad. The most intriguing antagonist was probably Masura Hyodo. On the outside, he's just a bully to Kayuki, but then you got that side where he's actually talented at playing the guitar, given his family history. He does seem to go through some character development as well, in the form of a change for the better after he experiences a taste of his own medicine. I'll just go over the art briefly. I think it's good for a show that came out in the early 2000s, but you can tell that it is pretty dated. If you're a fan of that mid-2000s aesthetic, then this is definitely a show for you. My favorite scenes gotta be when the band is just jamming out at whatever venue they're performing at, like during the early episodes when they're doing the underground shows. I think it's worth mentioning that I watched the dub. In my opinion, the English voice actors did a great job with each of their characters. When you got guys like Greg Aries and Eric Vale who are seasoned dub voice actors, it makes sense that the dub is going to be some good quality stuff. Now to talk about one of the main aspects of the show, the music. Spoiler, it slaps. When I was in my teen years, I was trying to learn how to play guitar, but I never got any good at it, to be honest. It just became an artifact in my room, sadly. Low-key though, the show made me want to pick it up again and learn how to play. Like, I really enjoy the music that much. If I were to pick out a few of my favorite songs from the OST, it would have to be the theme song, of course, Face, Moon on the Water, and the ending theme, My World Down. One criticism though, when they were shown performing, they would keep playing the same damn song to a point like I just got tired of hearing it, to be honest. I think the song was called Spice of Life, but yeah, that song was overplayed, man. If I had to give the show a score out of 10, I would honestly say it's like a 10 out of 10. Like, that's how much I enjoyed it. It slapped. It's kind of crazy I can give it a 10 because the only other two shows I gave 10s were to Mob Psycho Season 2 and Princess Mononoke. After I finished the show, I was longing for more Beck content and searching for some last hope, like maybe an OVA or movie that came out, but there was nothing like that. But what I did realize was there is a source manga with even more material that goes past the anime story. So hopefully I can get to the Beck manga at one point and read it ASAP. One thing that's going to be interesting is how I'll be reading it without no music, since music does play a big role in the story. Hopefully I'll update you guys after I do get through the manga. Anyways, as always, I appreciate y'all for checking out this video. If you read or watched Beck, let me know how you felt about it in the comments below. Also recommend me some other music shows to check out. But yeah, I'm Kid Liddy and I'm out of here. Peace!